and ongoing investigations that were now in the public domain. What I'm proposing more than anything is that you don't spend any money. Let us come in and do an audit of what you're doing today so that you can make an informed decision as to and understand where the risks are associated with cybersecurity. And on the back end, if you choose to work with us, we'd be happy to help you. And if you choose to work with somebody else, you'll have the information you need to make that decision as well. With that, I'll be brief and open it up to questions.
Okay. Anybody have questions?
My question would be, exactly how do you work together with partners like NDIT and in our case Energy and so on?
So there are a lot of, when people think about technology, a lot of times they think about it all as one big thing. And there's a lot of different areas in that. There's a support piece, there's training pieces, there's cybersecurity pieces, and then within each of those there are additional subsections as well. So what we would look at is we would come in, we'd do an audit, see where you're at today, and say, okay, this is where you're strong, this is where you have risks, and those are the risks that you should, whether that includes us in the mix, or if that is your current provider is doing it. The biggest thing is you only have so many of those conversations after the fact that you don't want to have before it really makes a lot of sense to have conversations with high value targets like government entities, like counties, and say, hey, let's prevent it rather than putting out the fire on the back end.
And I'm just talking about this from a fiscal perspective is, how you partner with them or how you work together or alongside them, whether you're working together or not. We're not in a position of luxury where we can afford duplicative services. So that's why I'm asking the question, how do you work in harmony with them and not getting each other what the other's way, and you're not doing the same thing that we're already paying for.
Right.
Or are you looking, to piggyback Dan's question, or are you looking in our best interest, if you're better and cheaper than our person that we currently have, are you looking to replace them?
Either one of those is a possibility. To be honest, we work a lot of times with it's not quite the same thing, but with MHA Nation, we work with their internal IT staff all the time. We are a supplement to them. We are a resource for them. That is all I am offering today, is to be a resource to you.
Okay, so talk just a little bit about the audit you're talking about. What does that entail? And
so basically, we would come in, we would take a look at what is in place today, what protections are there, what protections aren't there. We go through a list of about 30 different cybersecurity layers, and we look for what makes sense and what doesn't. And that's not to say that you need all of those. It's to say that we want to build, you don't want to lock the window and leave the door open. So the idea is to prevent as much as possible so that you don't end up with the huge bill on the back end of doing incident response. Because when you get into that, you can throw budgets out the window. It gets really expensive really quick.
Any other questions?
and maybe the two in the back.
Any comments from the two within our, this material that's within our agenda this month. We need to update our cybersecurity emergency plan, and these two ladies are part of that. Any comments or questions from you?
Well, one thing we did get a Homeland Security grant to upgrade some cybersecurity things, and CISA goes through our system weekly.
Yep.
So, we are very protected, I feel, within Wells County with CISA going through it.
Yep, and I've talked to counties all over the U.S. that have felt the same way. And when we've come in and done an audit, there have been things that have been missed, even in that.
But North Dakota, NRG, North Dakota IT, so.
And we have what's called moving forward, Tenable, and Cortex, and everything goes through the state. So.
Yep, I'm not trying, I'm not sitting here saying that anybody is doing anything wrong. I don't know. And my guess is that, honestly, probably nobody knows.
And we just went, Tammy and I just came through a training, which we're gonna talk to the commission about, that it's not a matter if it'll happen, it's when.
Absolutely.
That is.
Yeah. And there's definitely things that can be put in place to limit the scope of an attack as opposed to dealing with a bigger attack. And those are some of the things that we would look at as well.
As you've audited places and helped and worked with different people, what is your percentage of attack after you've taken over something?
After we've taken over
Yes.
something?
You see where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just curious.
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, I do. And no matter what prevention measures you put in place, it's not 100%. And I'm not going to say any different than that. It's very, very infrequently, but it does happen from time to time that there are still incidents, but the incidents are typically on a smaller scale, like a business email compromise. We had a situation not too long ago where a new employee came in and the internal IT department didn't put multi-factor on that new employee's email account, and they reused the password, or password got brute force attacked or something. I don't know what happened, but somehow that password got compromised.
So are you the Marshall Dillon and the Doc Holliday? If they see your name on it, they run?
No.
Okay,
no.
Just curious.
And to be honest, a lot of times now, it's not even so much that there are, there very well could be in an organization like yours, a targeted attack on a company.
Right.
But more often what we see in people that are calling us after an incident is that it was just a out in the world type attack that was, using automation or artificial intelligence or something to try this vulnerability on every organization out there until they found one that wasn't protected. Found one that it worked.
Real true.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, what do we want to do? Here's what I'm getting out of this, and when we get into cybersecurity, my head starts hurting when you start talking about all this stuff. But you want Michael to come in for an audit, or, and I'll pose this to the three of you, do you feel that the county's good and we don't need to waste his time on an audit?
I think the first thing would be you have to give a proposal of what you would do and what it would cost and what its value is to our organization.
But the audit wouldn't cost anything, right?
Right. What I'm proposing is a zero cost.
And then,
But
on top of that,
absolutely, I want to know the process.
because we would need to be able to have a conversation then with NDIT and with NRG as to how does this all weave together.
Yeah, absolutely.
I couldn't in good conscience do anything without NRG's go ahead. And NDIT's going to be involved because it's a state network. So they're involved no matter what. But NRG as our tech provider has to be on board.
And they're aware of, sure this isn't your first county you've stopped at.
Absolutely.
They're aware that you do this
Absolutely.
to different counties,
And,
different entities.
And next Tuesday, we'll be with Logan County at 6 County. That's a perfect opportunity for us to ask a question.
Right.
Logan County, Colorado.
Sorry, they won't be at the
They
meeting.
probably won't be there.
Yeah, we're not going to that one.
I can ask that.
Road trip.
I heard you
apologize.
say Logan
I
County.
thought so too.
I apologize, yes, Logan County, Colorado, and I can sure give you contact information down there so you can call them.
Do you have anybody in North Dakota?
In North Dakota, right now, we're having a lot of conversations with a lot of counties. We are working with the MHA Nation, Tribal Nation, not specifically with any North Dakota counties at this point. But we are based out of Bismarck, North Dakota, so we are local to the city.
What would you like to do? Or we can call you. I mean, we can discuss it, think about it.
Discuss it and then we give them a call.
Yeah. Okay, that's what we'll do.
That's perfectly fine
Okay.
too. So.
Yeah, we got some budget things we gotta run
Yeah,
into here. But
absolutely.
we'll, thanks for your proposal.
All right.
And thanks for coming in and we'll get back to you.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks.
It's okay, I might stay for your conversation. Once you guys are kicking in.
I think
Or
you
they
should
next.
go to those.
Yes, okay, we're gonna go to, because you're both here. Here in Tammy, Wells County Cybersecurity Emergency Operations Plan, which is, okay, go ahead.
So in front of you, you have, it'll be an annex to the courthouse and KCL emergency operations plan. It's a cybersecurity plan. Just to update this, and this was through the cybersecurity grant that we received to upgrade the server. The Wi-Fi server.
The grant was for the,
It's the very last sheet on your handout, way in the back.
Yep.
it was for the Wi-Fi, the access points, that they were secure, they were out of life. But they were secure and we were able to get the grant and the matching funds. Tammy wrote the grant, did a wonderful job.
So that, all the employees will get that, they'll also get a small little checklist, it's just a 5 little deal checklist, if something comes up. And just to back up, with this came, it's called CISA, it's the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agencies, it's through the federal government. They do a weekly test on our system, and Carrie and I both get those reports. When we were at a cybersecurity meeting, and I've heard this across different meetings too, North Dakota with NRG and North Dakota IT, we are one of the most protected states. Granted, we're a small state to protect, but we are a very protected, very healthy cybersecurity.
According to who? I mean, who says this?
For everybody.
CISA, a lot of
The
people.
federal agency.
Okay,
The
federal,
federal
I missed
agency.
that one. Okay, all right.
So that's one good thing too.
Well, we went, Tammy and I went a week ago Tuesday to what's called NDIT Information Security Roadshow. And it was a training, and it was going through cybersecurity incidents, and they stressed, it's not if it's gonna happen, it's when it's gonna happen.
So that's why we're always staying ahead.
We're always staying ahead of the
And so is
game.
North Dakota IT and North Dakota NRG.
And we went through all this, and that's where we came up with the checklist for, the employees. We also, we have what's called Tenable, which searches, emails and different things for security problems. We have Cortex, which is our, antivirus and stuff through the state. And we have the program Know Before, which is that one where it's the phishing alerts, where anytime you get an email that's suspicious, you go up to the corner, you open that email up, you go up to the corner, you hit the phishing report, it'll send it to state ITD.
And it's also the quarterly training.
Yep, and we have to do local training throughout the year. We have a main one, I think it's coming up here in December, and then we have little quarterly ones, and then they send us all kinds of little things to try and catch us.
So how
So
do
they
they
can
do
train.
that? If I might ask, here the other day, I get one from Laura Shea, the treasurer's office, an official looking email wanting some money till she gets her Bitcoin account set
Number
up.
one, Bitcoin is we don't do Bitcoin, so if you
I know
look at
that, but
She
how
knows.
are they getting it and how are they doing that? If we're secure,
you have
how
to,
big can that
our
get?
They're
email,
secure, you're not.
our email
That's just
address,
it,
but-
they're using that.
but our
Well,
names,
yeah, in the back door.
right, our names are out there as county officials.
Yeah, it's
And if
like,
you
Boone,
would've-
you were getting some of mine here a while back, right?
What?
I was
Like an
too.
email
I was
from
too
me.
for them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
And
but
it
your
was-
name was spelled wrong.
But Dennis, and if you also look at the email address, hover over that email address, it's not an official email address.
Well, I know, I can tell right away it's not,
Yeah.
but
But
they
more
get
letters.
their
well,
name
my
and use
point
it.
is, how much bigger can that get, you know?
Well, they do it because our names are published
Yeah.
everywhere. You know, we're officials, it's
Yeah.
open records, you know,
Basically just pulling
Just-
a name.
yep,
Yep,
they're
and then they
pulling
make up an email.
and make up these, yep. But what we did then with this, being we have all that in our, what is that report, that's up to date, when is that? Is it there? We just did it, that assessment, we have an assessment that is up to date, what we can do is Dan can call, NADER and tell them we have all this stuff in place. NADER will in turn call NDIT or email NDIT to make sure we can get a 4% reduction on our rate.
Because we have all this.
Because we have all this in place now. So that's part of what we learned at this meeting. We actually did a tabletop exercise that was really, it's eye-opening. And we would like, and we're gonna try and work on NDIT to have like a tri-county thing. They come to like the school, that it's the county employees, all the school employees, if businesses wanna come and talk about the cybersecurity and do things like this, because we need community involvement. You know, it's not just the county that's,
No.
it's the schools and all that, and NDIT works with the schools, so. But just a little bit on this checklist, as Tammy and I sat down and worked on, is what we want them to do if they have the suspicious email is, again, go to that phishing alert, send it to there. I just did one last week. State IT or NDIT said, yes, it is malicious looking and they're checking into it further. If you receive a message that you've been affected with ransomware or anything else, you are to call NRG with this number to make them aware of the issue. They're going to get a hold of NDIT. The next thing is we do not want you to restart or shut down your computer, because if you do, we lose all the memory, and NRG and NDIT will need that for investigation. They're to notify Tammy or myself so we can let other employees know, and they are not to use any other computer, sending out an email or logging into the network or anything.
Or using your phone.
Or using your phone to send an email, any device. And we kept it simple, and we just put on there, please be aware that cyber incident can happen just any one of us at any time, no matter what. It's like they said, it's not if, it's when. But we want to be ahead of the game of getting these in place. We would like to, at the next department head, Dan, if we can, present some of this stuff. I can present it and give the employees the sheet, and if they have any questions, they can always ask.
All right.
And one thing we found out too, with talking with other counties, in Wallace County, for a small county, we are way ahead of the game. It's amazing listening to other counties, where they are.
Yeah. And NRG too, they always tell us where the foreigners, when there's something new about technology, we're using our, I go to those meetings at the conference in October, and I say, okay, that's how we got the complete different computer for the banking, so that's not online emails and stuff, so.
Any questions for either one? Thank you.
At this point, then, I guess I would ask you what an audit consists of an organization like ours, and just in layman's terms, please.
Sure, absolutely. Well, we would take a look at systems and security that's in place and make recommendations based on what you have today versus what, best practices and things that we found in our experience over the last 15 years. And I will say too, and I'm not picking on anybody, but everybody we've talked to previously has always felt that they felt like they were protected to the fullest extent possible. And then after seeing the audit information, there were still things that were could be improved. And there always will be things that can be improved. I'm not trying to say that it's a one-time thing, and doing the weekly audits that you're talking about, weekly scans that you're talking about, that is a good step as well. It's absolutely, one of the things that we would recommend, and one of the things we do with our clients too.
Well, like NDIT, just to give you an idea, the passport, agency sent us out a zip file with a bunch of stuff that we needed. NDIT stripped it. We're not allowed to have any zip files. And then the passport agency had to send back and understand that, they do things that.
Absolutely.
So by asking you to submit a proposal for what this audit would look like, am I asking you for something that you can deliver?
Absolutely.
All right, fantastic. I will make sure that I text you my email address, and if you would